I'm about to make my most favorite thing that I make canning, and that is refrigerator dill pickles. Super easy, which is why I love it. So we've had a lot of rain up here in New England. So I've got some big cucumbers, and I'll check to make sure that they're okay. I'm more concerned about this one as far as taste wise, but the other ones that I've gotten that were big were just fine. So I've got to make more refrigerator pickles. I've already made, I think, 7 jars. So it's super easy. I've already taken my jars out of the dishwasher. You need garlic, black pepper, and we're gonna go get dill here in a second. And then in a pot you put vinegar, water, salt, and sugar. And that's it. And we'll boil this when we'll turn this on when I start chopping the cucumbers. And then by the time I'm done with that, it'll be about ready to go. And you need to let it cool a little bit, but I was going to show you where my dill is. So I got these rail planters this year. So I decided to put on my rail planters. So I have chives and some sage. And here is my dill, so I can just go out front here and grab dill whenever I need it. And I have oregano, so when I'm ready to make spaghetti sauce, I have that. And just some flowers for prettiness. I planted some leeks and some green onions and some Walla Walla onions, but some of them didn't come up, and I have some more mint here that is taken off like crazy. A friend of mine that I work with gave me some mint, and I think she gave me 2 spreads, and this is what I have now. So I've got to water these tonight, but I'm not going to water them in the heat of the day because it's not good. So I'm going to chop off some dill and use that inside when I make my pickles. Okay, so I'm back from getting the dill, and I'm just going to chop it, or not chop it, but just cut off little sections and put in the bottom of my mason jar. So it's going to be dill and garlic and peppercorn. So you can see all the dill I got. And if I need more, I just go out the front door and grab some more. And my jars. So I don't they will flour. I just cut that part off and put it in the trash. And then just put the big spreads in here. Now, a funny story, Steve's boys had my dill pickles one day last year, and we were getting near the bottom of the pickle jar, and they were trying to get it out. They're like, I don't want the seaweed. And I couldn't figure out what they were talking about. They thought the dill was seaweed. I thought that was the funniest thing. So had a lesson on herbs, and that it wasn't seaweed, it was indeed dill. But they actually eat seaweed. I don't like it, but I know some people do, and you can actually buy like seaweed chips or something. I don't know, that's not my thing. So I'm going to put some more dill in some of these, and then I'll come back on to show you how to put the garlic in there and the peppercorns. It's super easy. And in the meantime, I've got my water heating up to a boil on the stove. So by the time I finish doing this and chopping my cucumbers, that will be done and almost ready to take off. Well, ready to take off, and then it'll be in the process of cooling, which is what we want. We don't want super hot liquid going in here. Okay, so that's finished. So now I'm just going to take my peppercorns, and I don't know, I just put about probably that amount, 10, 15 or so. It doesn't really make it hot, but it does add flavor. I guess if you added a whole bunch, it would probably make it hot. You could probably sit and count the peppercorns if you wanted to do that. I am OCD, but I don't think I'm quite that bad. And that's all you do for the peppercorns. And then for the garlic, you just smash it and add it to the bottom. I add about 2 to 3 cloves of garlic per jar, and then I try to make sure that I open them up. That way it releases the garlic and it will infuse the pickles. So I just stirred my water to help the sugar and salt melt, and I used a little spoon. My youngest son made this in wood shop at school, and I miss them. He and my oldest are visiting their dad in Colorado, and I miss them so much, and I don't get to hear from them too much because they're out in the middle of nowhere, so cell service is really poor and internet is not much better. So anyway, miss them a lot. They love these pickles, so I love doing stuff like this in the summer. It keeps me busy, keeps me from missing them. They're gone all summer, and it doesn't keep me from missing them, but it helps some. So you're just going to break open your garlic. I got this at a local farm the other day. You can get it at Walmart. I normally do, but I was low. Actually, I was out, and I was going to be making some of these. I just didn't record a video then. So I just went ahead and bought some there. That way I wouldn't have to run out to the grocery store since I was already at the farm. So I'm just going to separate these. And if they're really big, which some of these are, I'm just going to put 2 per jar. If they're smaller like these, I'll put more. So you just do it to taste. You can add more if you want more garlic. You can add more dill. You can add more peppercorn. It's very versatile, so it's all on preference. But anyway, my boys love these, and I teach here in town where I live. And one of the boys in my class this past year, he wanted to have a pickle contest between me and another teacher to see which one was better, and he liked mine better, which was nice. But he's so funny. He calls, my dog's name is Cinnamon, but he calls her Mayonnaise. So he's funny, and they got to see her some when I went remote this past year when I was watching Steve's boys. So he would always ask about Mayonnaise, aka Cinnamon. So, and if your garlic has a not so good spot, I just cut it off. Sometimes that happens. So that was a big piece, so I'll probably put like another small piece, but I'll end up using this whole head of garlic, and you normally do. The last time I got garlic, Walmart was out, so I ended up getting the ones that were already peeled in a bag in the refrigerated section. So, or I'm assuming they were out according to online ordering, they were out. So, and I'm going to shut off my water and let it cool, and I'm just going to continue doing this to the garlic until I get everything in here, and then I'm going to start chopping the cucumbers. Okay, so next I'm just going to chop my pickles, and this one I'm definitely going to taste to make sure it doesn't taste like bitter or it's not too tough, even though it will like not be as tough once it sits in that water. Tastes good to me. So I think we're good to go. So I'm just going to chop these, and you can chop them in half. I also have like a knife that makes crinkle cut fries that I use sometimes to cut my cucumbers, just for something different. It throws the boys off, but all our boys love these pickles. And like I said, they're super easy, and they're honestly my favorite thing to make. So I'll just put some of these, spread them around my jars, because I don't want them to necessarily like stack up on top of each other. I want them to have space for that brine to get in between them to flavor them. Because I leave the skin on, I guess you could take the skin off. So it's not going to permeate the skin as much as it does this part, the flesh that you've cut. So I'm gonna work on doing this, and then I'll come back once I'm finished with all this, because you don't want to sit here and watch me chop cucumbers for 5 minutes or however long it takes me. So we will be back. So my last cucumber wasn't any good. It was, I don't know, it looked like it was waterlogged or something. I don't know what you would call it. I'm sure there's a name for it, but see, it just doesn't, and it felt slimy, so I'm not gonna use it. I'm not gonna cry over one cucumber. I've got, like I said, how many of these jars? 7 in the fridge, so we've got plenty. So that's without these 3, so this is gonna bring me up to 10. As far as this, I'll probably just cover it and refrigerate it. I have not been out to the garden today. That is on my to-do list tomorrow, which seems to be growing. So I've got to go out into the garden and clean, and I need to weed outside. I was gonna do that this morning, but I think it rained last night if I remember correctly. I don't know. So I worked on canning this morning. So the garden will be taken care of tomorrow, and then I will make sure to clean house tomorrow. Not that it's filthy or anything, just it's what I do weekly. And I will probably make some zucchini bread tomorrow, because I've got some zucchini from the garden that I need to use up as well. So the garden is definitely a blessing. By August, I'm done, and I don't want to see it anymore. And then by about April, I'm ready to start planting, even though we don't plant here till about the last week in May, first week in June. So I'm going to pour water into these. I'm going to let it cool just a little bit before I do that. I may walk out to the garden and see if there are any cucumbers ready to come in. If so, I may just go ahead and take care of these 2, and then just take care of the weeding and everything tomorrow. So we'll be back when the water cools off, or the brine mixture, and then I'll pour that in there. So I thought I would just go ahead and go out here and see what I can pick, and then that way tomorrow I can focus on weeding. And I thought I'd give you a sneak peek at the garden. So they're all my tomato plants, so it looks like a jungle. And then I have 3 eggplants. Then I have a bunch of peppers, all kinds of different ones. Here's a cucumber plant. It's not starting to do that well, but I do have one little cucumber there, and I have gotten one off of it. Actually, there's a couple more. They like to hide, so you have to really look for your cucumbers. But here's one. I found it earlier when I came out, and there's another one you'll see. So I have a little bucket. I have a little bucket that I carry out, that I put my cucumbers and veggies in. We've had lots and lots of rain, which is good for cucumbers. Not necessarily for other things, so we'll see. I could pick that one, I guess. Just make sure if you plant cucumbers, you move the leaves. You could also buy cucumbers at the grocery store and make your own pickles. It tastes so much better, and you know what's in your food. So my squash, something's happening to some of them. I don't know. I am not a master gardener. I just plant and pray. So I'm going to finish looking through cucumbers, and then we'll be back inside. So I got 3 more cucumbers and a squash, and I just made squash casserole last night. It is so good. Look online for the Paula Deen's recipe. It's the best. So these are the ones that I just got from the garden. We should have enough maybe for one more jar. We'll see. And how do I know how many jars? Because that's, if all my cucumbers would have been okay, it probably would have filled 5, because that's how many I made the other day with about the same amount of jars. So the more you do this, the more you'll be able to predict how many jars or whatever you need. So, and I slice these about 1/4 of an inch thick. I try to. Sometimes they're thicker, sometimes they're thinner. I'm human. And that's what makes it more rustic. Everything's uniform, it's kind of boring. So I like these smaller ones better. But like I said, we've had a lot of rain. I wasn't able to get out to the garden. So that's why I have those bigger ones. But they're great on burgers, which is what we use them for. And the boys love burgers. Plus, who doesn't love burgers? And I made smash burgers the other night on our Blackstone griddle. And those were so good. So just another option, or you can just eat them plain. I can just do that. Yeah, we're gonna get one more jar. I can put some of these in this other jar if I need to, that has a little bit more room. So, anywho, we're about to add some water here in a few minutes and then put lids on them, put them in the refrigerator, and that is it, which is why this is one of my favorites. And all the boys eat it and love it, and Steve and I love them. So this is like a win-win-win, because it's rare that both of my boys will eat something, and his boys are not anywhere near as picky as mine are, but mine are rather finicky about their food, which is okay. So I got one more, so I'll cover this and probably stick it in the fridge, the empty one. And we'll get some more cucumbers again and just add stuff to it. We'll be back. So this next part, we just take the liquid, and it's still a little bit warm. If you want to let it cool down more, you can. But I'm just going to be putting it in the fridge, but it's not boiling hot, so it's cooled down some. And I just take and ladle the liquid in until it covers my pickles. You don't have to worry about head space because they're not processing. I mean, obviously you don't want it to run over, but anyway, this is all there is to it. Now for the brine, since I'm making this many pickles, and these are pint and a half size jars, which they're hard to find, and they only come 9 to a pack, but I love them. But anyways, so for the brine, I normally make, for this amount, a batch and a half. So I don't quite double it. I take the recipe and make the whole thing, and then half it, and then add that to it, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna have brine left over. I mean, it's just vinegar and water and a little bit of sugar and salt, but I will probably save it because I don't want to waste it. So I may just put it in that jar that's empty, and then just pour the brine out when I get cucumbers and add it back. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. And then you take your lids, screw them on, and voila. If I can lift this up, you are done. Sometimes I'll take it when the lid is on really good and just swish it around so it gets in between all the cucumber slices. And then it sits in your refrigerator for about a week or two to get the flavor that you want. They say it lasts, I think, up to a month, but we just ran out last spring, so I keep them in there. They don't go bad, or I've never had them go bad. So I don't know if I've been lucky or what. I mean, you do what you feel is safe for you in your kitchen, but that's what I do in mine. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell. You guys have a good day, and go buy you some pickles or get some out of your garden and have at it. It's super, super easy. So enjoy.